Hey everyone, this is your girl, Miss Santa Little Cole. I'm coming to you straight out of NYC on this very, very, very quiet Tuesday morning. I just want to take the time out to say thank you to all those that have listened to my commentary and viewed my videos for the past couple of days. I sincerely thank you from the bottom of my heart. And I really appreciate it. Now I want to take the time out to discuss this story that broke yesterday regarding Wendy Williams' health. I really do think it's really sad. Regardless of your opinions of Wendy Williams, my criticism of Wendy Williams in the past, I think that this is just really, 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 really extremely sad. So before I begin, I want to say this. I've never spoken about Wendy Williams on this channel. And when she was going through everything that was happening in her life, I couldn't really discuss it because I was going through seeing a family member of mine that's close to me really, really, really go through a lot of things. Now, at the time, it wasn't similar like what Wendy was going through because Wendy's situation really centered around a man. Whereas my family member situations was because of pretty much being an elderly person. But as time went on, I said to myself, this is not drugs. And if it is, it's much more. This has to do with a breakdown because of the embarrassment of what Kevin Hunter did to her. And her body broke down. Then a couple of months went by. She went to the sober house. Then she left the sober house and was doing out treatment. Then she seemed like everything was going well with her. And then we found out she had lymphedema. And I knew that with the lymphedema, she wouldn't be able to wear high heels again. She wouldn't be able to be the Wendy that she was on TV. Now, outside of TV, she doesn't really wear high heels. She wears flats, she wears sneakers, she wears boots, she wears Uggs. But the daytime version of her, she doesn't wear those high heels anymore. And so I said, okay, fine. She's 55 years old. It is what it is. But then we saw her forget her words, slur her speech. And I said, this could be issues with her thyroid, but I believe she's having a nervous breakdown. And then when she was doing the weird stuff with her then she was wearing a lingerie on stage. That outfit looked like she was wearing, it was like a lingerie outfit. I don't know if you remember, it was like a pants set, but it looked like it was like a lingerie set. And then she was like acting really sexual. I said, this isn't good. And then her mom passed. Then the news broke that she had COVID. And then she didn't want to get the vaccine in between. She said she wasn't going to get the vaccine. And then a couple of weeks ago, it was discovered that her ex-husband, fiance, I don't know if they got married, but she's pregnant. Then she went to psychiatric hospital. Then now they're saying she is showing early signs of dementia. So we're going to talk about this. Okay. So I'm going to read it from Hot 97, her former employer. It reads, Wendy Williams is allegedly confined to a wheelchair and showing early signs of dementia. Prayers up. According to reports, Wendy Williams may not be returning to her show as she is reportedly confined to a wheelchair and showing early signs of dementia. The Ricky Smiley Morning Show reports that Wendy has lost all blood circulation to her legs and to her feet. The morning show discussed how the talk show host recently lost her mom and her public divorce from her estranged husband and battled with drug and alcoholism, which may have contributed to her demise. We previously reported that Williams is on hiatus from her show due to her health concerns and that the new season is currently being hosted by various celebrities. Despite her ratings increasing by 33%, there are reports stating that her 10 a.m. slot may be replaced by Nick Cannon's new talk show. If the Wendy Williams show if the Wendy Williams show ends or she doesn't come back to the show, they would feel comfortable sliding Nick into the 10 a.m. slot, which immediately follows the local news broadcast, a close source to Williams said. The source also added, that is the plan for filling the time in the New York market. Other stations around the country that similarly carry both shows back to back will likely follow New York's lead. However, another source said, it really all depends on what her ratings look like at the point. Right now, they've been stronger than expected without her. And it reads, please keep Wendy in your thoughts and prayers at this time. And with the ending, I agree with that. I think that people, wish her the best on her speedy recovery. We have our sentiments about Wendy. A lot of people don't like her. I love Wendy in terms of the early stages of Wendy's career when she was on Kiss FM in New York. See, a lot of people know of Wendy Williams from the mid-2000s when she was on WBLS and her show was syndicated. Then there are some people that got to know her during the 6-week sneak peek of the Wendy Williams talk show. But if you're from the tri-state area and you're from New York City, Jersey, Connecticut, and even Philadelphia, you've known Wendy as far back as 1990. I knew of her in 1992, the summer of 1992, which is my favorite summer as a child growing up. And I would say it still is. And that's when I first heard of Wendy Williams. And I'm going to say something. Wendy Williams is one of my inspirations for creating my YouTube channel. Yes, I said it. Believe it or not. I always wanted to do radio from listening to Wendy Williams. And it was a couple of other radio personalities. And I was very intrigued by radio because you didn't have to show your face. You could play music that you liked, unless you worked for another station that didn't have it. And you can engage with people, particularly if you were a shy person. So if you were body conscious, you didn't want to go out there and be seen on TV. But you were really good at communicating with people. You could have a career in radio. So I always said that I would want to do radio as a hobby. So I would even create radio shows here and there. And then I discovered YouTube and Spreaker. And that's when I said, I'm going to finally do this. So I want to shout out Wendy Williams because she's been an inspiration partly of this channel. Now, with the gossip thing, I don't do the gossip pretty much. I don't really like the gossip. But she was great at it. And I never really got offended until she would discuss certain things when it came to people's marriages, particularly women that were not popular, that were not in the limelight. Talking about the entertainers was one thing, but then talking about the wives, that wasn't cool. Now, people are saying that this is her karma. And why I chose to read the article from Hot 97 is because Hot 97 is one of her former employers. She worked with them when Kiss FM and Hot 97 merged under the same parent company. And Hot 97 became slowly hip hop in New York City along with WBLS. And all of the radio personalities that was from Kiss FM, that at the time was an R&B and hip hop station, they went over to Hot 97 because of the station owner choosing to make Kiss FM an urban adult contemporary station. And that was the worst thing that happened. And I will say this, it was the beginning of the end for R&B as we know it. I don't care. I think those stations were the worst. I'm sorry, because it was making R&B old. What you're seeing now with music is because of what they did in 1994. I'm just going to say it. But anyway, Hot 97 was her employer from 95 to 98. And they fired her. And it was really Puffy. Puffy had her fired. And Puffy sent her on to another station in Philadelphia. And it was because of Philadelphia where she was able to rebirth and recreate her career. And that's what got her back to the city, the WLS, and then she became syndicated, which means she was in different markets, which led to the talk show. So you can kind of, in a weird way, thank Puffy and Hot 97 for doing this, if you're a fan of Wendy Williams. Now, I want to get into another article from Yahoo Life. This one goes more into it, and it reads, Wendy Williams reportedly restricted to a wheelchair, and rumor has it she's battling early dementia. New reports state things are getting worse for daytime talk show host Wendy Williams. Allegedly, Wendy's capability to walk has become diminished, and she's restricted to using a wheelchair now. According to the Ricky Smiley morning show Swan the Don, also known as Antoine Edwards, Twan explained on Monday the shocking update on Wendy's health. It is being reported that the talk show host, who was in her 50s, I want to say, she's in her late 50s, she has completely lost all blood circulation in her legs and in her feet. The Wendy Williams show host is also allegedly suffering from early stages of dementia, according to the Pop Culture Reporter. The entertainment group Lionsgate reportedly has Wendy stored away under lock and key to prevent another booze and vodka-filled depression, Twan said in an Instagram post. For the record, he also claimed Wendy Williams' ex-husband and former manager Kevin Hunter is allegedly cheating on his fiancée, Sharina Hudson. As Madame Noir has extensively detailed in the past, Sharina was Kevin's mistress for around 15 years. During the span of his marriage to Wendy, on top of his cheating, one of the things that caused Wendy and Kevin to ultimately divorce was him having a child with Sharina outside of he and the TV host union. Kevin's love child was born in 2019, and he and Wendy's divorce was finalized in early 2000. Kevin asked Sharina for her hand in marriage in October this year. And I just want to make that misnomer. I said earlier that she got pregnant recently. I meant to say she got engaged recently. She was pregnant and had the baby in 2019. I want to make that correction. Now, his latest side piece is apparently a woman living in Brooklyn, New York, according to Twan. As of now, Wendy still isn't scheduled to return to her infamous purple chair on the set of the Wendy Williams show anytime soon. Things seemingly started going downhill fast for the show host after she canceled a promotional tour for the show's current season in early September due to ongoing health issues. A slew of headlines has been reported since then, discussing everything from the daytime TV show's unstable ratings, the frequently updated status of Wendy's health, and whether or not the TV host is even interested in returning to her show at all. Loyal viewers of the Wendy Williams show still continue tuning for the show's 13th season, as it featured a variety of fill-in hosts, including Michael Rappaport, Leah Remini, and Sherry Shepherd. Notably, Fat Joe and Remy Ma are taking over as co-hosts of the award-winning daytime TV show for Thanksgiving week. Wendy continues to be under medical supervision and meets with her medical team on a daily basis. The show's Instagram account said in a post last month, she is making progress, but is experiencing serious complications as a direct result of Graves' disease and her thyroid condition. We're continuing to send prayers up for Wendy as she battles whatever health issues she faces. We wish her the absolute best. So this article went more into the whole thing, not just with her health, but the whole thing with Kevin and Sharina. I don't give two shits about them. Forgive me for saying that. I'm just going to be honest. But what I do care about is this notion of Wendy Williams, and she's losing circulation in her legs and her feet. I'm going to say something about that. I'm very familiar with lymphedema. I don't have lymphedema. It is one of the worst. I don't have it. It is one of the worst things to see. Lymphedema is very unpredictable, meaning that a person can have different type of lymphedema from another person. A person can have lymphedema and have small ankles, but they'll never be able to get the swelling all the way down. Then you have a person with lymphedema that will have a huge leg that's really big, but in like 2 weeks, it can go down the swelling if they elevate the legs and if they do exercises. So lymphedema pretty much deals with the swelling of the lymph nodes, and it deals with circulation. It's pretty much like an obstruction. So it's caused by lymphatic system blockage. And the most commonly way to treat it is basically you have to exercise. You also have to wrap, and you have to use compressors. You have to consistently massage. You have to do a lot of stretches. You have to moisturize your body, and you also have to use devices, and you also have to exercise at least 20 to 30 minutes, 5 days a week, just for that area alone, so that you don't have backup. What happened with Wendy Williams is that Wendy Williams, even though she doesn't have the worst case of lymphedema in terms of the physical aspects of it, because her ankles still look pretty okay compared to a lot of people with lymphedema. The problem is, if you look at her skin looks really, I hate to say it, the word, her skin is green. That means that she lost circulation. She has green skin. I'm just going to keep it real. And for a person that has helped people with lymphedema, when it gets like that, that's neglect. Something happened to her where she started neglecting herself. And that's going to lead me to the whole situation with Kevin. Kevin and what he did to her caused her to have a mental breakdown. When she fell back in 2017, that was a result of the whole situation with him and Sharina Hudson. She's never been right ever since. Also, too, they're saying that she's showing signs of dementia. There is a link between lymphedema and the mind. I don't think Wendy has dementia in a sense of an elderly person, but I do believe her dementia-like symptoms is linked to the lymphedema and the Graves' disease, and also her battling the alcohol and then having a history of drug use. When you have fluid that goes down in your body, and your fluid isn't in the proper places of your body, you lose fluid in the brain as well. And that's one of the horrible things about lymphedema. So when you see her ankles is filled with fluid, and you notice that her legs are skinny, that's the bad parts of lymphedema. That's fluid that should be not just in her leg, but also in her brain. Now, they're saying that there's also holes in her brain as well because of dementia. As I said, her dementia, to me, I don't think it's like an elderly person's dementia. I think it's a form of dementia that is due to physical chronic illnesses. That's what I think it is. I don't think it's like a classic dementia like, oh, your grandmother has dementia. Like my grandmother had dementia. But everything else with her body was normal, except for she had asthma. And she had asthma for 30 years prior to being diagnosed with dementia. But she could walk normal. She could eat normal. She could still cook. She could comb her hair. She could bathe properly. It's just that it was just her mind, and her dementia was because of certain situations that had happened. So when dementia deals with the shock also. So it's not like Alzheimer's where it's because something is going on with your brain, and it's also, it destroys your, it's a disease that destroys your memory and mental functions. This has to do with it's a group of thinking and social symptoms that interferes with daily function. And Wendy can't function properly because of the lymphedema. And then also too, it's also brought on by a psychosis, clinical depression. Also, remember, she had personality changes and the inability to combine muscle movements or unsteady walking, lymphedema. So what I believe is going on is that Wendy, I believe, is still doing certain things that she shouldn't be doing. I think the pills could be one of the things. I don't think she's doing coke. But they said she was drinking at one time. That could have caused complications with the lymphedema, which could be causing complication with the dementia. What I also believe is going on with Wendy is that Wendy Williams isn't taking care of herself like she should because she is going through depression. If you saw the Wendy Williams documentary, it was sad. She was crying. Every time she mentioned Kevin, she was crying. Everything else, she could talk 1, 2, 3. But Kevin, it was tears. She's hurt over Kevin. This woman let this man destroy her essence. And that's sad. That's really sad. And the signs of it, it's looking it up, it's kind of, I'm going to be honest with you. I would say that Wendy Williams lymphedema is, based on the look of it, is pretty much treatable. But I believe because she's not taking care of herself, it's causing her lymphedema to not heal. But also, looking it up, I would also say that the dementia could have been the first thing that came from the nervous breakdown, which led to the lymphedema. Another thing I want to say, and this is for all of those people who are into astrology. Wendy Williams is born on the sign of Cancer. And Cancer rules the lymphatic system. And it plays a huge part in their sign. Like a lot of cancers, they tend to have issues with their lymph nodes. The lymph nodes deals with fluid, and Cancer is a water sign. And as you see, Wendy is dealing with issues with her lymph nodes. So for all you all out there that don't believe that astrology is real, I just proved y'all wrong. I just wanted to say that also, because I kept thinking about, is something else dealing with this? And I kept saying it throughout my conversation, something dealing with it. It's the lymph nodes and the Cancer and being born in the sign of Cancer. Wendy needs 3 things. She needs a life coach. She needs real friends. And she needs a therapist, and she needs a nurse. She needs a nurse. And another thing too, she needs to take her show back to radio, or she should take it to YouTube. She should do her show from home, because Wendy Williams owns the Wendy Williams name. Fox doesn't own it. She owns that show. She owns I think she owns about 75% of the show. Yeah. She should take that show to YouTube. Especially since Debmar Mercury didn't care about her health. They didn't care about her health. She should take the show to YouTube. She should also do podcasting. But she should also take the show to YouTube. Because Wendy Williams' name is iconic. Wendy Williams has actually patched up relationships with people. I just think the saddest one was really the DJ Booth, because they were really close. And, hearing about her sexually harassing him, I just think that was because she just wanted penis. I'm just going to be honest with you. But at the end of the day, you can't let anyone, male or female, man or woman, boy or girl, and this is for the teenagers out here and those that's in college, you can't let anybody take you down to a state of depression to where it's going to affect your health. It's not worth it. I've been there. It's not worth it. And I've been there when I was young. It's not worth it. You could cry, you can be sad, but never let it compromise your health. Because at the end of the day, it's not going to change the fact that that person doesn't want to be bothered with you. There are so many people out there in this world. Supposedly, there's about 4 billion or 3 billion adults in this world. Why are you crying over this person? Especially the fact that he was coming off from your name. It's not like you needed him. He mostly needed you financially. And now he's got to hustle. Yes, he's still getting checks from the Wendy Williams show. Yes, he got the alimony. But at the end of the day, you basically have a name. And there are many men out there that like you. They liked you before that you got with Kevin. Because I remember back in the days when men were trying to date you. And there was men trying to date you when you were still married to him. And then you did get married before that. But that didn't work. And I think kind of that's why she wanted to be with Kevin. I don't know. I just think that Wendy Williams is talented. You may not like what she does as a gossip columnist, but Wendy was good at what she did. And Wendy Williams, at the end of the day, is talented. She's iconic. And she doesn't deserve to go down like this. But it could be karmatic also based on, gossiping about certain people on things that wasn't the truth. But I'm going to also say it too. I'm going to talk about it on another commentary. I'm going to save that. It's 2 things. But I'm just going to wrap it up with saying Wendy Williams, get well. And I hope somebody from her team is picking up my commentary. And I hope that they're listening. And just take the advice. Focus on your health. Debmar Mercury doesn't care about her health. And I think she should go to YouTube and go to podcasting. And that's it. So I'm going to come back later on, guys. I'm going to do another commentary. And sorry if I'm saying a lot. But thank you for listening. To anyone who has issues with lymphedema, so consult a doctor. Anyone with dementia or know somebody with dementia, consult a cognitive specialist, a neurological doctor, and always seek treatment for anything. And I'll talk to you real soon. Take care and have a wonderful day.